a giant sperm. That's, yeah, okay. I'm not too happy. This film, Felix, I love you, the guy who recommended it, but this film is not for me. I'm not one to get offended by everything, I'd say. I mean, I get offended by a bit. That's fine. I think that's just the internet. Everyone does. But this movie really took it to the next level. Let me explain. This film, if you don't know about it or you haven't seen it, it is about a movie theater that is closing down, and it's having one of its last final night of showing. It's also a crude, bad taste type cinema, and it's also a drive-in. So this film is more of an anthology film. It's got 4 different sectors of 4 different films that the people are watching, while there is a subplot flowing through about the last and final night of showing. But this one, God, let me tell you what the films are about, just to give you like a heads up. The first film is about a giant sperm that goes crazy in a town, much like Blob, the Blob, but I think it's called the Glob. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I was like, this is okay, this is pretty gross, but it's fine. A giant sperm, that's, yeah, okay, whatever. Kind of reminded me of Killer Condom, if you've seen that German film. So I was like, yeah, this is weird, but it's okay. From there, they had Werebear. I don't know the full title, but it is about a guy who was turning into a werewolf, but a bear werewolf, because bear is in, the gay, I want to say subgenre, and I didn't know about this one. I thought it was kind of a bit touchy, but it was fine. It did it in a respectful manner. It was pretty much saying, relating werewolves to homosexuality, and people turning. It was offensive in a little bit, but it wasn't so much picking at the fact that they were gay. It was more just taking the piss out of werewolves. And then I drew the line when they had Anne Frankenstein. The whole thing was done in German. They made fun of Jews and had, Hitler, and it was just a bit much. I don't mind things like this, but it wasn't funny. The jokes were not funny. My thing with this film, it's okay to have 1 or 2 jokes about that kind of thing. Risque, definitely. But if you have jokes every 5 seconds, and I'm talking 5 seconds, it's not funny. And then the last one was, I think, called Defecation, and it was obviously about shitting yourself, and it was just a whole heap of actual people shitting themselves, and it gets kind of paused in the middle of that, and it goes back to the sub-storyline of what's happening on the last night. I think the most gross thing about the movie was the subplot that kind of ties it all together, what is happening on the last night. And it's got to do with, like, at the very start, a corpse is pretty much giving fellatio to one of the characters, and that gets passed around almost like an STD, and it's filth, man. It's filth. This film is filth. And I don't mind filth. I love John Waters. I love Todd Solondz, my 2 favorite directors. Filth, I'm all about it. But this film was just not funny and really gross and made me feel really disgusting. And although it had horror elements, it took it a bit too far. You can understand when certain films are offensive and they relate things back, kind of like Ginger Snaps. I don't think Ginger Snaps is offensive at all, but it's relating like a girl getting her period to being a werewolf. And you can be clever like that, but then you can just be dumb and, I don't know, bad taste. I'm not a fan of this film. I'm looking at my notes now. There was a lot of shart jokes, as in fart and shitting, together. But I'm not a fan of it. I do think it was clever at the very start when it was done in a way that it looked like it was done in the 70s or the 80s, and it's actually done in 2011. But besides the stylization, not a fan of this one. Felix, I'm so sad because I really love you, Felix. Appreciate you as a person. Not so much this. I'm gonna give this one a 1 out of 10. I feel sick. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Stay spooky. Bye.